Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Cable issue number 8. Well, the art was certainly a lot better in this one. At least I could see what was going on. Anyway, this was an otherwise pretty good book, but I have a point to make that I think is going to piss a whole lot of people off, but in my favor, not in their favor. Anyway, let's get talking about who made this comic book. We'll go on from there. So, this issue is basically Let Fate Decide or My Dinner with Domino. The writer is Jerry Dugan, Phil Noto on art. The letters are done by VC's Joe Sabino. Tom Mueller does the design, cover art by Phil Noto, and Jonathan Hickman is the head of X. Hi, how are ya? So, basically, this is Babel running around and having dinner in Japan, and I don't know, with Domino, and a bunch of his clones show up, and let me tell you why this book worked. All right, when Cable was chasing after the guy, the guy looked very much like Cable. You could tell this was still the guy from the previous issue, right? It's like, well, I thought that this guy died. Well, he did, but there was a clone of this guy. So it's like, wait a second, though. But in this one, more than in the previous issue, he looks a lot like Cable. Then you understand why. Now, what was interesting about this is that we realized it about the exact same time that Cable realized it. This is one of the reasons why Jerry Dugan is one of the best writers in Marvel, or at least, like I said, Dugan is very hit or miss. There are very few books that you'll read by him, in my opinion, where you'll go like, it was an alright issue. You're either like, no, this was a good issue or this was a bad issue, you know? Or you could separate, you could be very distinct about the parts you did and didn't like, you know? For the most part, it's not about something not working for you. It's about it being bad, in many regards. In this case, I didn't find anything that was necessarily bad, except for the thing we're going to get to a little bit later. You're going to love this. And you probably already noticed it. Anyway, I like the idea that we are right in line with the protagonist in this one. When the protagonist understands something, we understand something. When the protagonist is, confused, we're confused. And that's exactly how a book should be written. I don't care if it doesn't even have to be a comic book. It could be a regular novel. It could be fiction. It could be whatever. If it feels like we're being taught something and we just don't know anything, it's like, we feel dumb. And if we've already figured out who the bad guy is before freaking the protagonist has, well, then the character that we're reading is dumb. And either way, you'll wind up falling off the book. In this case, we were perfectly aligned, and I liked that. And that's one of the aspects about Dugan that I've always appreciated. I also like how he made this book wrap in around itself. Dominoes starts talking about, in the very beginning of this comic book, starts talking about how her powers work, or at least how she believes her powers work. And then to see all of that come back at the end of this comic book, well, besides the after credit scene stuff, yes, there's a after credit scene stuff here. I thought that was great. I thought that I looked, I was like, oh, this is just dumb. Nope, never mind. I take that back. That was freaking beautiful. It was freaking amazing. Is that Sunfire? There's so many. How about Sunfire? Like, for Sunfire to have so many mentions in this book and not have a single appearance, that's also part of the genius that is Dugan, right? At the same time, I feel sometimes if you're just gonna make books that are silly, then maybe just go back to Deadpool. You know what I'm saying? Like, honestly, I genuinely feel that way. Because instead we just have Dugan on a bunch of Liefeld characters that, could just go back to the main one that everybody remembers the most? The most, obvious one? Here's the thing about it. There was a mention in here about clones with Domino that kind of scares me just a little bit. If you remember, Domino technically has 3 first appearances because the first 2 weren't actually her, they were clones. Really weird, but I remind you, this is a Liefeld character, so shh. um, oh god, I saw that. I got so cringed. I was like, don't remind me. But it was so perfect. I had to laugh. It was a cringy laugh, but cringe-induced laugh. Anyway, there's a little difference there. By the time you get to the end of the book, there's the after credits scene with old man Cable, like actual Cable actual. Let's put it that way. And I'm so happy to see that story continue, even just a little tiny bit, because that's really the story I just want to get to. The Babel stuff is cute. At the same time, I could literally live with it or live without it. I don't care. But I need to see the actual Cable come back. Babel just needs to go. He needs to get spanked and he needs to just go. And I have a feeling that's what's going to wind up happening at some point. But for now, I guess they feel like they're making some money off of this. Anyhow, the thing that I think everybody noticed and is going to hate, this is probably the worst version of Domino ever. You know what I'm saying? People got so mad as Domino used to be the straight badass character, right? Just anybody she came across, she straight whooped their ass. You know what I'm saying? Killing suckers, killing fools left and right. And then she got, kind of softened up a little bit. And then a lot of people got really mad over the Gail Simone Domino books and Domino Hot Shots. Now, I personally enjoyed Gail Simone's take on Domino, which was actually started by Greg Pak, mind you, in the Weapon X books. But that's just something I know a lot of people got really upset over that. Well, has there been a weaker version of Domino who isn't interested in rescuing kidnapped babies? They keep saying stolen babies. Yeah, there's a word for that. It's called kidnapped. Baby napped? Anyway, I have these kids that have been kidnapped, and she's just, oh, I'm going to eat this gayoko. I don't know what gayoko is. I've never actually, I don't remember. At least I never heard the name if I've eaten it. Anyway, she's just like, God, it's just so silly. And she's pretty much using the Force the whole time also. Her powers have evolved into becoming the Force. It's not even luck anymore. Yeah, so really, really weak take on Domino. Even to the point where I looked at it, I was like, I don't want this Domino. I don't want this silly stuff here. Like, this just isn't interesting to me. Plus, how can you be, like, this close to someone and not real, like, am I looking at you? Am I not looking at you? Am I looking at you? Am I not looking at you? I mean, how can you be that close to somebody and not realize when they're looking at you and not looking at you? So that was a really weird moment here also. Like, does Domino need to get her eyes checked? Yeah. I'm pretty sure that this version of Domino probably pissed off a lot of people. Justifiably so, maybe, maybe not, I don't know. I'm not here to make those judgments, but if you didn't like Gail Simone's version, oh, you were probably incensed at this one. Anyway, guys, that's about it for me. Like the video, watch an ad, and talk to you guys later. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.